Okay, so I know from the title of this video, you're probably saying, what do you mean no one cares about my clothing? Well, the fact of the matter is, it's not that no one cares about your clothing. I'm sure there's some people that do actually care about your clothing. But on the whole, most people really don't care about your clothing. But they do care about something else. And we're going to discuss what that other thing is next, here on Making the Brand. What's up, everybody? Rob Norman from Planet Brooklyn Academy Clothing Company, and this is Making the Brand, a series where I give you a little insight and knowledge on how to start a clothing line, and if you already have one, how to make it better. As always, before we get into things, please hit that like and subscribe button, and don't forget to hit that notification bell so you can stay up to date with everything we drop when it drops. So why is it that no one cares about your clothing? Well, the truth of the matter is that it's all about where the state of fashion has gone. Nowadays, people really don't care about your clothing or anyone else's clothing, in the sense that they don't care about the actual garments. When you think about fashion back in the early 20s, 30s, and 40s, fashion was a huge thing. And a lot of these legacy brands that you have around, like Louis Vuitton, Christian Dior, brands such as those, they really were created on the basis of fashion. People gravitated towards these fashion houses because of what they created. They created garments that were so elegant and so well designed and put together that people paid a high price for them. And rightfully so, because of the type of garments and the type of trims and fabrics they were using. They were worth the price that they cost. Fast forward to today, garments are produced so rapidly that now people are paying prices for things not for what they're worth, but for what their perceived value is, based on how the rest of the world sees it, and not really for what it's worth. So when I say people don't really care about your clothing anymore, I'm talking about how the fact that nowadays there's more emphasis put on the value of the brand or the name of a company than the actual product. Most people don't even know what a t-shirt is made out of. They can't even tell the difference between a 100% cotton t-shirt and a poly blend t-shirt. They have no idea. They just buy what they see because, one, visually they like it, or two, they're buying it just simply because it's trendy. It's the hottest brand out right now and everybody's wearing it, so they'll go out and buy it. But they don't really care about the actual product. As long as it looks good and that it has a status value to it, most people will buy it. And that's why a lot of people don't care about clothing nowadays. Really think about it. Let's look, for instance, if you say, let's take a brand like Supreme, for instance. Before they were acquired by the VF Corporation, Supreme was an independent corporation. Now, as I've heard, allegedly, Supreme used to buy their t-shirts, blanks. So they used to buy blank t-shirts and then print on them. And this is something that many companies do. But in the sense of Supreme buying blank t-shirts, they're buying blanks same way I or you buy blanks. And they're buying them from Hanes or Next Level or Bella Canvas. They're buying those type of t-shirts allegedly. And they're printing on it. So why is Supreme's shirt any different than your shirt? Why is it that their shirt is at $55 and you may be selling your shirt at, say, $35? You're using the exact same fabric. Supreme allegedly is not making any custom t-shirts. They're not flying in, fabrics from Egypt and making Egyptian cotton t-shirts that would raise the price of that shirt. They're just using stock t-shirts. So why is their shirt $55 versus the same fabric shirt you're using and selling your shirt at $35? It's all because of what the perceived value is. People see Supreme as a higher end brand because of the price point they set, so people will pay that price. Now, if you mark your shirt up to $55, there's a chance your shirt may not sell because no one knows who you are. And again, this shows you where people today aren't so concerned about actual fabrics and garments and what clothing are made out of. They're just concerned about the hype and what the status represents. At the end of the day, it's still the same fabrics I'm using and you're using, some of these other brands are using, but people are just going along with it. When I started before I even started off in this industry, I came from advertising. And when I first got into the advertising business, a director once said to me, he said, the success of a brand is not in the product. He said the success of a brand is 75% marketing and 25% product. If you can get your consumer to believe in the ideology of the brand, then the consumer will buy any product that brand puts out. And we've seen this happen time and time and again. When Supreme puts out a brick that says Supreme in it and people bought it, it proves the theory of what I just said. Once people believed in the actual brand, they will buy anything for it. Fire extinguishers, knives, a brick, anything Supreme puts their name on, people will buy. Because they're not buying the product for what it's worth, they're buying into a name. So again, when you're creating your clothing company, you don't have to not worry about the product. You should always care about your product. But what I'm recommending is that you put more emphasis in building your brand, in building some kind of concept into your brand that people will really immerse themselves into. Again, if they get into that, then eventually they will go fully into your brand. They will start looking into what your brand is made up of, what your clothing is made out of. So don't go cheap on clothing. Put your all into your clothing, especially if you are somebody who is actually a true fashion designer. You're actually designing your clothing and creating it. But what I am saying is, if you're first time designing a clothing line, don't get all hung up on, on the fabrics have to be top notch and that, your trims have to be of the finest threads. Don't worry about that. Get your product to be good and be, well put together, but don't worry about getting the upper tier fabrics in the beginning. Because what happens is, if no one knows your brand, then you may end up sending out a season or two with product that you can't move, and you put all this money vested into it. Don't do that, because again, they don't really care about your clothing. They care about what your brand is about. So put the work and effort into the line, but don't spend so much money worrying about the right gram weight or that, maybe I don't think the threading in this is perfect. Don't worry about that, because your consumer really doesn't think about that. They normally are going to buy whatever they think is hot, and they're going to feel that, this represents them, or whatever circle they run in, this represents us, and they will use that, and they will wear it, and they will promote it. Once you have your core group, then you can start going into all that finer detailing, and then you could promote that more in your brand so that people can now look at your garment and really care about your clothing, as opposed to people not caring about it and just wanting to be a part of the trend. I hope that explains what I meant in the topic, the video naming. I hope it didn't freak any of you out. But again, at the end of the day, it is about, building a cohesive brand and not really stressing the small stuff. As always, if you have any thoughts or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I appreciate you all staying tuned with us and checking out everything I've been putting out, and more videos to come. So until then, I'll catch you guys all on the next video. Peace.